Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's been a while since I said this, and to be precise, it's been 2 weeks since our last podcast. It's good to be back for podcast number 9. As always, we are back with an exciting topic, and of course, before we go into the discussion, with great pleasure, let me introduce Vani Suryaprakash, globally certified life coach and a national level accredited soft skill trainer and an image consultant to our podcast.
Hello, MJ. Wonderful. Very good day to everybody. Yes, it's really good to be back, MJ, and I'm really looking forward to start off fresh.
Oh, yeah, true, very true. So, before we proceed, listeners, it would be a great help if you can subscribe and also share this podcast among your friends and family. We appreciate every single effort of yours in making this podcast travel across the length and breadth of the world. So, coming back to the topic of discussion, today we are going to start on the topic prioritization. And this week it is going to be an introduction, or more to say, a precursor or a trailer for the things that we'll be talking in the upcoming weeks. So, over to you, Vani. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, MJ. And I think the rhythm is still the same as I said earlier for our topic. We are just going to break down the topic into bite-sized information.
Okay.
Because prioritization again is very, very vast.
Mm-hmm.
And though we all know that prioritization is important, we ask about priority. At times we would have heard people say, you know what, there are two things which is of high priority, both are priority.
Yeah.
So that's a typical verse that we keep hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So there is always this subtle difference, and how each individual kind of prioritizes varies from person to person. And you definitely heard it right, because this is going to vary from person to person, because
Mm-hmm.
each individual, they have their own choices, they
Mm-hmm.
have their own needs, necessities, wish, wants, etc., depending on which the prioritization of elements will vary from person to person.
Mm-hmm.
So on this vast topic, today's call is all going to be a precursor, I would say, where I just wanted to introduce common confusion that many people have with respect to uh, selfish versus self-centered, and also a very wonderful category called as selfless.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's important for people to understand this if they really have to take the essence of prioritization. Yeah, so as I said, MJ, I just wanted to start with a precursor topic with respect to prioritization,
Mm-hmm.
where I want our listeners, and for the benefit of everybody, people to understand the difference between selfish, being self-centered, and also selfless.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is where generally, and more particularly between selfish and self-centered, there are a lot of confusion and commotion that happens every time when we connect with people. So I thought this is something important for people to understand even before they get the essence of prioritization.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Let me start with a very easy, straightforward category. There is a selfless category.
Mm-hmm.
As the name indicates, as the word indicates, it is nothing but being selfless means putting the needs, interests, and well-being of others before one's own.
Mm-hmm.
Often, these people wouldn't expect anything in return.
Okay.
And how do I identify this? How do I know that this person is selfless, or I am selfless or not, is another question that people will have, right? Now that they have known the definition. So there are
Correct.
common characteristics that these people exhibit. The important one are actively considering and prioritizing the welfare of others. They
Mm-hmm.
often always prioritize others, leaving them. Willingness to make sacrifice for the benefits of others. Again,
Okay.
it's a voluntary willingness that they sacrifice for the benefit of others and not for theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Demonstrating empathy, compassion, and altruism towards others. I mean, it'll be an extraordinary one where they keep demonstrating empathy, more and more compassion. And they always say this, your power in our community, right? So people say, no, really, I feel so bad for this person, so I'll definitely do this for them, irrespective of what they are going through, right?
Yeah.
And then many a time we would have seen people who are willing to, it'll be a storm, it'll be floods going around, but there'll be one individual who will say, it's okay, I'll have to go to the office so that people who are stuck there has to be let go home, or I should take food to them, or I should take some necessities to them. And ultimately, this person is also one of the employees, and they are not the front end people who are like police or doctors who are striving through those times. So we would have come across such people. So these people are selfless. And then now let me come to the very, very interesting or very confusing categories, the selfish and self-centered. So selfish means it's prioritizing their own needs, desires, and interests over the needs and interest of others. Okay. This we would have heard, learned right from childhood, right? As part of schools, colleges, etc. And one of the common characteristics of them are they'll always act in a way that benefits themselves, often at the expense of others. They'll only think about their own benefits. It's at the expense of others, nothing to worry about others, nothing to worry about what they're going through or anything of that sort. Majorly, they lack concern for the well-being or feeling of others. Third thing, characteristics which is commonly exhibited as part of selfish category are putting one's own desires and needs above others without even considering the consequences.
Okay.
So if I'll have to put it in a very layman term, simply said, it is seeking personal gain without regard for the impact on others.
Okay.
And then this very interesting, and this word might have been popular in a decade or so, not very much used earlier. Self-centered, which means being excessively focused on oneself, often to the exclusion or neglecting of others. This is the small, subtle difference, if you see. These people don't act at the expense of others. However, they exclude or neglect others and they focus on themselves. Characteristics being, again, excessive concern for their own needs, desires, and interest. They feel it very difficult in considering and understanding the perspective and needs of others. It's not like empathy is nil. They have very limited or minimal empathy towards others. That's the difference. Whereas when it is selfish, empathy is nil. Your empathy is there, but very, very limited. It just comes off and on, and we don't know when it will pop up. Okay? So these, in a very layman term, they consistently seek attention and validation, disregarding others' feelings or needs. Again, this also slightly overlaps with our self-victimization, right? I want that validation from external aspects, irrespective of what they are going through. I don't mind. So these are the three things which I wanted to talk about, because it's important for us to know even before understanding the essence of prioritization. Just thought I'll say a small story on this, MJ. Because these are all kind of bookish definitions. Again, it will confuse people. As I said, many leaders have seen struggling hard to understand the difference between selfish and self-centered. So I've taken a very common example. Today, we are all living in the community basis. Many people live in gated community or row houses, a lot of this fashion, right? Gone are those days. So in these communities, if you see today, they collect maintenance charges, which also includes an amount in terms of celebrating few events and festivals.
Okay. Correct.
So in our story, again, once upon a time, very nostalgic statement, right? And I'll have to say a story.
Yeah.
So there is this community in which there are two young adults, gentlemen who are residing, named Keshavan and Kapil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They both were almost of the same age, around 22, 23. They were working in a very reputed organization. Of course, today the culture is more reputed organizations, ITs, and all those things. They kind of stay in these gated communities. So the community people, what they're doing, as always, they're forming a committee and they're collecting maintenance. They're trying to celebrate some events. There are a lot of senior citizens who are part of the community, who are living in the community. So they're kind of forming this group or the committee where there are young chaps who actually are able to help these senior citizens as well.
Okay.
Okay. So they take care of maintaining the roads, security aspects, the kids' play area. And again, since there are a lot of news is coming day in and day out with respect to the security of children being kidnapped and all those things, they are forming this committee so that they are kind of vigilant and mindful. And also they decide to celebrate events and festivals because they want
Okay.
to stay as one big family. Wonderful community, and as I said, there are mixed age group. These young chaps are forming the community. And almost we are also in that stage, and even in the story, it's about time for Diwali, festival
Okay.
of lights. Who would miss it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So this committee, they decide to celebrate Diwali, and they wanted to make small arrangements where they're conducting some music shows, dance shows, and apart from that, sweets, because Diwali doesn't go without sweets, crackers, and then they also arrange some food. So these are all
Okay.
some plans that they have got. Now, when they come together, and since this committee is formed majorly by young chaps, there is a group where people kind of start discussing about this, and then they start saying, okay, there is one person who's heading the group who says, okay, who wants to do what? And then he starts allocating the task. So this activity gets commenced, and as it gets allocated, it comes to a stage where they are allocating a task to Keshav.
Okay.
And the moment they say, okay, Keshavan, please take care of arranging for food. And this gentleman says, sorry, I can't do it.
Oh, okay.
And it was very blunt because till then the group was very lively. Everybody were chatting for each task. A lot of things were being discussed because they spoke about decoration, they spoke about what kind of crackers, etc., etc., and it was very lively. And suddenly, when Keshavan was allocated this work, and he just bluntly said no.
Okay.
And the team was taken by surprise. And then again, as usual, when group of people, there is going to be commotion, there's going to be a lot of arguments, discussion, views. So people started doing this. And the head of the group, who is a very wise gentleman, and then he says, it's okay. Let's not start arguing on this. Why don't we focus on the tasks in hand? Let's move on. And then they continue to allocate tasks. And now it is time for Kapil. So Kapil has been allocated in terms of arranging for sweets and crackers. So since he is arranging for sweets, they are also asking if he could also take up in terms of arranging for food, which Keshavan denied. And this gentleman says, yeah, okay. And he picks it up. Now, what happens is the fun where Kapil, he keeps a tab. He starts working on his task. He goes for food hunting. He goes for sweet hunting. And then he kind of finds multiple vendors, codes, and all those things. But interestingly, what couple does is he keeps putting small trivial information. He keeps saying the group that today I had a meeting from 2 to 5, and then 5 o'clock I went and met a vendor, and then I got some samples, I got the quotation, I came back by 5:30, and then I was again in a meeting. And he keep boasting about what he has gone through along with the task that he has achieved as well.
Mm-hmm.
And with all those things, people didn't mind because the task was also to be completed. But as the days passed by, people were also getting irritated.
Okay.
Nobody would be ready to listen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because each one had their own task. They also had their own day job. They had
Mm-hmm.
families. But still, people were contributing. Nobody were boasting. But this guy, he was consistently messaging his schedule, what he is going through, how he is going, how much time did they talk, and all these things. He keeps sending voice message, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And finally the D-Day comes, and the day of Diwali, and everybody are excited, happy. They all come to the common place in the community. They start wishing each other, take the blessings from elders, and they start distributing crackers and sweets. So it
Mm-hmm.
was fun filled. There was a dance event happening simultaneously. Somebody
Okay.
down there was getting ready for performing one of their talents. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the senior citizens were all eager. They were enjoying the show. So
Mm-hmm.
all this was very lively, very colorful as expected, Diwali being a festival of lights. And then again, couple starts.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to people, he goes to senior citizen and asks how this is what I have arranged. What do you think about it? You know what, I went through all these things apart from my work, and then I got this done, etc., etc. And then he
Mm-hmm.
keeps giving, where they are also getting slightly uncomfortable and irritated.
Okay.
Whereas our other gentleman, Keshav, though he said he will not
Not to.
work,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
but he comes to the party. And
Mm-hmm.
there are few people who are making fun. Okay, you didn't do anything, and why are you joining us? You said you don't want to do it. And then he says, I've paid for it.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm paying my maintenance regularly and I'm paying for it. So why not? I'll come and have. And he comes, he has food, he has sweets, he enjoys the crackers and everything. So these are the two characters, MJ, as I said. One who is not concerned about anybody else. Then the entire
Mm-hmm.
community was working to put a show, to have a
Mm-hmm.
fun-filled day, to have a very enjoyable, memorable moment for every individual, irrespective of the age they belong. This gentleman took a back seat and then he said, no, I can't do anything. And then, however, he comes and says he will have everything because he has paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Very selfish. They don't empathize. They lack concern for the well-being or feeling of others. Um, and they only think about their own benefits, as I said earlier.
Okay. Mm.
Whereas the other gentleman, Keshav, though he does the job, but still he's annoying, right? Who will be ready
Yeah.
to listen to all these things? Nobody wants people to keep blowing their own trumpets day in and day out.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
And in today's world, it might be quite contradictory where people want us to talk about what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But see, there should always be a balance. Do not overdo anything.
Okay.
In Tamil, the very mother tongue of the place where I live in, and where they say, "Alavukku minjinal amurdamum nanju," which means when it is sweet or even if it is good thing that you have exceeded, it becomes poisonous.
Too much of everything is good for nothing.
Yes, too much of anything is good for nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So nothing works of that fashion. So though Keshav has done the job, his self-boasting, talking about what he did, what he went through, etc., etc., is of no interest to people.
Mm-hmm.
Because there again, he did not concern about or empathize what people were going through. just then the senior citizens were sitting and enjoying the show, and then he intruded and he started talking about how did he select the suite and how do they feel about it, is it good, etc., where he was seeking for his own validations.
Correct, exactly.
Right. So typically we will see all kinds of category in a given community, in a given family, in a given life. At times there might be situations where we ourselves, when we self-evaluate, we'll say, okay, am I too selfish on this? Am I being too self-centered on this? Or am I selfless? So that also matters. So just do self-reflect and see where you are or what category majorly you exhibit on a given day or a week. That will help you understand where you will have to bring the balance.
Exactly.
As I said, nothing is right, nothing is wrong. However, where is that balance? You cannot be too selfish. You cannot be too concerned about yourself at the cost of others' life. Right? So, strike that balance, self-reflect, and this will help us connect back to prioritization in the forthcoming weeks.
Well, I think that's a great beginning to the topic. Fantastic thoughts, and as usual, a story which is aligned to the topic, which will make us. I think each of us can remember what has been told, telling the concept with a story. Once again, you have started off, or let me just put it in this way. We just now had a successful launch for the new topic, prioritization.
Yes, MJ. Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for the time. And I'm also eager for the upcoming week episodes during which we can discuss more about prioritization. Thank you once again for the opportunity.
Pleasure is always ours, Vani. So, folks, let us just get on to the next section, the quote section. Today's quote: prioritization is the compass that guides our actions, steering us towards the destinations that truly matter and ensuring we navigate through the sea of possibilities with purpose and efficiency. On that note and quote, it's time to say goodbye to episode number 9. And once again, it would be great if you can subscribe and share the podcast with your dears and nears. We will be back in 7 days' time. Till then, be good, do good, and stay good. Bye.